All right, everyone. We are back for episode 31 of Stub Luv Live. And tonight we have Jim Markey on. Jim is, and I see that Jim joined, and I see that we have a request. Grab Jim right now. There's Jim.
Hey, what's up, Howard?
What's going on, Jim? How are you?
Good.
I see we got people flying in. Here we go. I see we got Scott Forker in. I see we got Tickets to History in. We have my daughter in because she always follows. Wheeler's Collectibles, Tommy Bohm. So we got a lot of people I see creeping in here now. So excited, thankful that everyone's joining. I see we got Justin Sutterfield in the house.
All right, big guys are coming now. Yeah.
Yeah, here they come. So, well, I appreciate you coming on, Jim. This is episode 31. What's up, Justin? So, always excited to have good people on. I think I met you, Jim. My first time was at the last Atlantic City National, and I think you've been set up at a bunch of different nationals. We'll get into that. But tell us a little bit about how you got into ticket collecting and then selling tickets.
Yeah, so collecting, I've always been a collector. Ever since college, my buddy Tom kind of got me into card collecting, and I was doing that all the way through the 80s and 90s. And then after 2000, when the kids started coming, the volume of cards, it was just, I couldn't handle it anymore, right? You'd buy a box of cards or whatever. And I was like, I went to a show and saw some tickets. I'm like, this is really cool. And I could do the research on them, and I could buy one and it'd show up in a small envelope and, go in the back of the cabinet. So I bought a couple online, bought one of my first ones from Lenny. Lenny hooked me. I don't remember even what it was. I think it was a Kirby Puckett early, but he sent it with a letter, and the letter kind of pulled at the heartstrings and said how he got into it. And I'm like, that's exactly, that's exactly what I like to do. So I know Lenny stops at my booth every time at the National. Good guy, he's gotten some good deals from me. I've got some good deals from him. It's just a great guy.
That damn Lenny Sterren,
Hmm.
that damn Buckner on eBay, he gets us all. So he sends you a letter like massaging you and making you feel so good about your purchase and ticket collecting. And then before you know it, you've got 3 mortgages on the
That's
house
right.
and, you can't put food on the table and it's all his fault.
That's right.
Yeah, that dang guy. No, we're teasing. But so you started to collect cards, moved into tickets. One of the things I advertised a little bit about tonight's episode was I think you might be the godfather of starting to put and place online ads for trying to buy tickets from people just randomly.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I've got an ad and I'm putting it out there. Can I possibly buy tickets that you have? So how did that start and where'd you put them? And I got all kinds
Yeah.
of questions.
Yeah. So when I started setting up at the National 5 years ago, I started with, we had 8 cases. Tom would take 4, I'd take 4. And then I'd have a couple of cases of tickets, and then I'd have cards, and cards would kind of pay for the table. And after about a year, or the second or third year, I turned to Tom, I go, I think I'm just going to just do tickets. So I started doing that, and there was a high interest, but I'm like, how am I going to get more inventory? So I would do big lots, mostly on Heritage or on eBay. And I'm like, well, I don't know social media too well, but I'll put an ad out there. And I think I was one of the first ones to do. And now there's probably about a half a dozen people putting ads out there. But people would send me pictures, and I'd make them some kind of an offer, and I'd get a box of 200-300 tickets in the mail and just go through and do the research. I mean, I've gotten lots before that had tape on the back of every one of them, and they're all stuck together. I've had ones that smell like mold and mildew. I don't know where those were. So you got to kiss a lot of frogs, but when you do find some stuff, I mean, you can find some really good things.
So where were you putting these on Facebook, like local Facebook pages?
Facebook, yeah, mostly, and then Instagram a little bit later, but yeah, those two spots.
And what would you say that you were paying for, either the ads and then on top of the ads, what were you paying for most of these lots? Was this like $10 here and there, $20, or were they more expensive?
They're more expensive. I mean, the ads will run a couple $100 a month, and then $200 to $300 is kind of the sweet spot for a collection of tickets. And these are I want lifelong collections, right? I want to see what everyone's gone to from, for the course of 20 or 30 years, which is really the fun. And they'll all be regional. Like I've had a Cleveland lots. I've had like Jordan over Elo. I might have found in that one somebody I might know and have bought that, right? Uh, or a Detroit lot or whatever. So it's a lot very regional, and it's just really interesting to see what people have been to.
So you get concert tickets, you get sports tickets.
I buy them.
Yeah,
I get show tickets, and I mean that's what my standard is. Just I just want everything. I want everything you ever went to, and then I'll just buy it all. And the concert tickets, I've got a couple old concert tickets, but mostly those go in a box. And one of these days, I might go through them and see if I have anything. We'll
yeah,
find out.
yeah, yeah. So my understanding from us talking a little bit before the show was that has kind of slowed down a little bit as far as how much you're getting in the way of response to those ads. Is that because there are just more people doing it, or is it that people know that there's more value in their old tickets?
It's a combination. I certainly people know there's more value. The offers have to go up a little bit. There's at least half a dozen people that I have seen out that are doing it. Um, I could be fishing out of the same pond over and over again after a while, so I'm gonna have to kind of reinvent where that which pond I go to, and that's the fun of it, right? I mean, as my wife, who's I think is watching, I love the hunt. I just like finding stuff. I do love getting it slabbed. I like putting it out at the table, like finding the right person for it. I mean, that's just very satisfying to find the right person that's always wanted something, and I can kind of deliver it. That's fun.
One of the things I'll say about Jim to anyone who has not bought from Jim or encountered Jim at shows, Jim's really fair. His prices are good. Not only are his prices good, but you're kind of no nonsense. I mean, if you want to move something,
Hmm.
you give us a price, and it's like if you like it, great. You may negotiate a little bit here and there, but your price is usually fair, and you stick to it. And if the buyer doesn't want to buy it, well, you're okay with that, and I kind
Yeah.
of like that about you.
Yeah, no, and I don't have people show up after 4 or 5 years that I'm like, Phil shows up from Detroit, or I mean, I just, there's fun, and they'll stand there for an hour or two, and we'll talk tickets, and it's whether they buy something or not. I mean, it's a good time. I mean, if you stop by after 4 o'clock, there'll be a beer in my hand, and we'll have a good time until close.
So tell the audience, what have been the real big scores that you've come across in these online ads that you've purchased, where you're getting someone, you're throwing out the worm, you're throwing out the lure, you're reeling them in, you give them the couple $100, and you hit the big largemouth bass, the big catch. What is it? What have they
Yeah, I mean,
been?
I brought a couple that are, and I've got a bunch of raws that I'll take, but I mean, these came from different lots, but this one had about, 300 or 400 tickets, but I only had about a dozen Yankees tickets, and I was going through it, and just before my wife served dinner was a Thurman Munson debut,
Oh,
and I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And a similar lot a couple months earlier was a Don Mattingly debut. So
wow.
I was able to grab those.
So wait,
Um,
before Jim,
yeah,
so what holder was that Munson in before?
I
Where did
I was crafty. They're raw, so I didn't have, about 4 months ago, I stopped sending them into PSA because I want to be able to get them back. So I just want to, for the price that I want for it, I want to jazz it up just a little bit.
so you those are like Markey homemade
Yes, sir.
slabs.
Hmm.
Can I see that again? That Munson? That was really cool. That looked great. Yeah, I like it. So it's just a screw down with a label.
It's a double mag with
Double.
a label that I can inset into it, and then I did cut out the border so it doesn't move around.
Wow. So we're gonna, you and me, Jim, we're putting PSA out of business, baby.
I'd love to. Trust me, I'd love to.
Nah. So what about the Mattingly? Is that the same kind of setup or a little different?
No, Mattingly was PSA.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mattingly's great. So is the Munson and is the Mattingly, are those available at the National?
Everything I showed you, I'll be at maybe one ticket tonight will be at the National. Yes.
Okay. All right. What else? So you scored those in ticket lots from people online.
I did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in some cases, I mean, a couple of these, like this next one I'll show you, they probably had about 1,000 tickets, and it was out of Detroit, and it was the next, I think, a basketball coach or something. So he was all over um, Detroit area. So this was all Fab Five debut game. The first game they all played, but not together. So that's a University of Detroit. He had quite a bit of UAD things in there, and he also had this. This is Michael Jordan and Ewing playing in the McDonald's Capital Classic. So before he went to UNC, the guy had been to a lot, and I still have now worked through all of these. I can go through and take some stuff and get them graded. And during my off season, which would be after the show for a couple months, I may have the opportunity to go through some of them.
That's like in your rest after the National. So Jim, how much time are you spending? So this is a lot of time. So you gotta make the ads.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to get those out. You've got to pay for the ads.
Mm-hmm.
You've then got to have people call you or reach out to you or message you or whatever they're doing. You've got to acquire the tickets, get them shipped to you.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got to organize them, and then you've got to do all the research.
I got to organize, I got to research, I got to label, I got to send, I try to keep about 500 or 600 on the eBay store to they pay for the ads, and I just have so much in the backlog. I mean, one of these days I'll have to retire to get to my ticket business, but
Don't tell your wife that. Not yet. You can't. You
no,
can't.
I got some years left, but I'll have backlog. Hopefully the ticket world stays alive for 10
Yeah,
years.
that's funny. So I saw that we have Sean Doherty joined in. I see GH5 Collection join in. Stubs for Life joined in. We got a lot of people. I see a lot of Markeys in here too, so that's good. The fam giving some support. So what else do you have there, Jim? Show us a few more.
Few more. I've got two of these that I'll bring. These are the Jordan 63 point tickets. Probably get those PSA graded while we're there if they don't move right away. I brought this just for you though. This is a snowball game. Got a couple LT debuts as well.
Jim Markey bringing the heat tonight.
Emmett Smith debut.
Wow.
So this one's, I don't understand why this one's so few. There's only two on the pop report. This is a 4. It's the highest. Bought a bunch of hockey lately. I think these are a lot of fun. So this is the very first Gretzky Lemieux game
Oh my God.
ticket. And if I can up that by one, I've got two of these that I'll bring. This is the first Gordie Howe Gretzky game. And the thing about these, and I've got Gordie Howe's 800th goal as well. Their attendance was so poor that first year of the Whalers. There was less than 10,000 people at these games. So these are the only ones on the pop report for both of these. And I've got the Gretzky Gordie 4th of 4 meeting as well that I'll also bring as raw. But those are fun. I got a whole run of all of the Whalers tickets.
Wow.
I've had
That's
this before. This is the 88 slam dunk and a PSA 8
it's a high
stub.
grade. It's
It's
a high
neat.
grade, Jim. Wow, you got some good stuff. You're bringing some big ones out, man. This is gonna be it's gonna be interesting. I was keeping my money in the bank this year. I don't know. Now that I see
We'll
this,
see.
I don't know. I don't know, Jim. I don't know. You're making me nervous. This is good stuff. Good stuff. So let's talk a little bit about the national.
Yeah.
So I think you said and I wrote it down, but I may have gotten it wrong because of the COVID year. So is this your 5th year setting up, or is this your 4th year setting up?
This is my 5th year setting up.
Okay. So you started, the first show was where?
First show was in Chicago when they opened up that red carpet in the very back. And that's how they let some more dealers in. They opened up that red carpet
So
space.
you got,
Correct.
okay, so you got Chicago, and then was it the skipped year because of
And
COVID?
then they were going to New Jersey, and me and Tom looked at each other after the first year, says, I don't want to go to New Jersey. So we didn't know it was going to be that difficult to get the table back. So we're like, we're just not going to do it. And then COVID came and they pushed it back and said, okay, COVID's canceled. We'll go back to Chicago. All the dealers get their same spot. So I called them up and said, hey, can I have my spot back? Sorry for not going to Jersey. They're like, sure. So we're all in now. I mean, it's so tough to get a table. And then this year we expanded to 2 tables. So this will be our 5th year. Tom's got good stuff. Tom's got some Babe Ruth tickets and some Garrick stuff, and he's kind of getting into it as well. So
Yeah.
it'll be a lot of fun.
Tom's a good guy. I like Tom. He's always good to talk to too. So think about that, honestly, Jim. Like, you could have screwed it up big time if you would have happily, dipped out of the national and your space. Someone, I'm sure, would have happily dipped right in there and taken it from you. And then
Exactly. And I think last year it was the dealers that only had a couple years and didn't get a table. I mean, they got shut out. They still stay on the list, but they got shut out. So yeah, we're pretty lucky. We're pretty solid in there now in our selection spot, but yeah.
um, Justin, no one said Babe Ruth, and no one's selling you any Babe Ruth tickets. Those are for other people, for other folk.
I have a couple home runs if he wants them. He can stop by.
Wow, wow. There you go. You got the personal invitation, Mr. Sutterfield, from Jim Markey. So you've done nationals in Chicago. I met you in Atlantic City.
Mhm.
This is your first national in Cleveland. So first of all, tell me what's been your best national. What has sold the best, and then let's talk a little bit about, do you do most business Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Is it Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Sunday's a dead day. Tell us.
A good question. So every year's been better. Um, and as I went to all tickets, I've had a better show than I did with cards because, cards are such a commodity. So at tickets, I can just have unique stuff on the table and I can have those conversations and people are interested in them. So, yeah, last year even though I was in the hot box, right? I was in the middle and the air conditioner doesn't work. And even at 4 o'clock on Friday, there was a few people that nobody wanted to be around you because it was so hot, but we did really well. Um, Wednesday is a really good day. Those are the days that people come that are looking something specific that don't mind spending some money. They might want a debut or something else. Move that stuff on Wednesday or Thursday. By far, Sunday's the worst day. Look at Saturday, late Saturday and Sunday are kind of your families. So I'll switch up what I put out and I'll put up some stuff that's just a little bit cheaper, some more, dollar boxes or whatever for someone to look through. But those won't sell on Wednesday or Thursday. Those people, everyone those days are looking for something special.
Right.
So it's kind of a mix. And it's kind of I will sell a couple bigger ticket items. I every year I'll sell something in the 3 to 5 thousand range, one or two. But there's quite a few things that sell in the 2 to 500 range. I've got, you know, dozens of World Series and that stuff. That's steady. Some passes can sell. I still have a bunch of the Shirley Povich passes that I have in the case every year. I bought those lots on Heritage some years ago, and people just love those. I mean, he's such an iconic writer.
Yep.
And those tickets all go back into the 30s. So we'll sell a few of those as well.
So, like I said, I met you in Atlantic City, and I thought that was a good show. I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm from Philadelphia, so kind of being in Atlantic City was a little bit like a home away from home. But I really thought, Jim, minus the bad weather in the building there, your hot box, Chicago was like head and shoulders above AC.
I agree. I mean, I thought AC's laid out weird where it's so long and thin to get one person to go from where the signers were all the way to the other end, and I was kind of on the other end and split up. Mike Viola split the table with me that year was difficult, right? So where Chicago is still it's just bigger and wider, and I think Cleveland's going to be something similar. That it's easier to get from one end to the other as opposed to New Jersey.
I see LZit123 join, and that is Eric Zitter is joining in on this live. And Jim, we don't get Eric Zitter for anybody, so
All
that's
right.
pretty big. That one of the whales is in the night, man. I'm looking forward to seeing Eric. Can't wait to see him and hang out with him a little bit next week. So that says a lot about you, Jim, to get the big E in tonight. So are you driving from Dallas to Cleveland?
I am this year. Yeah, we're driving.
So
I'm driving.
yeah, give us a little bit from the dealer perspective. Um, when do you start the trip? How long does it take? When are you going to start setting up? And then kind of what do you do with your display and your tickets on, like the nights? Do you take everything back to the hotel with you, or do you leave it in your showcases and keep it locked up?
So I do that. So I'll start you from the beginning. So I would normally fly, but last year I flew and I had just so much stuff getting it to and from the airport and through TSA, and they would open up the bags. And by Sunday night, I'm just exhausted. I just rather get in my car and just drive it, even though I'll pull over to stay the night, just make a 2 day drive of it. But I'll get there Wednesday, probably around 10, get to the table, unload. There's energy at 10 o'clock in the morning. There's people moving around and it's everyone's in a great mood. I mean, it's just a lot of fun to go on the floor first thing. So we'll set the tables up, and then I've got most of the dealers will have them, the things that you'll see flop over and they'll zip and they'll put a lock on it. So I've got those set up, and you just put everything into those cases and you leave everything on the floor, and it is such a secure floor. I mean, imagine what's on that floor. After 15 minutes of shutdown, about 6:15, they'll start barking at you to get out of there. So I'm not too worried about my stuff.
Yeah, I don't think you need to be. So I have you down, Jim, as booths 1737 and 1836.
Yeah.
And I asked you when we were talking, why it was a 1700 and 1800, and you said, I think you got like a corner spot. So you're kind of in both, and that's probably a prime area.
I think so. I'm a bit of the distance away from the front door, which I've never really found to be a problem because some people like to start at the back of the room. Doesn't really matter. I am directly across from eBay, corporate, and Heritage. So if you see Heritage, just go a little bit further, and we'll have the two tables set up right there.
Okay. All right. So any kind of tips you can give to buyers who are coming to the National to try to score some tickets? Is it, better to come at you first couple of days, better to wait till Sunday? Any specifics that you found? Better to negotiate, come at you hard, cash and trade? I don't know.
Well, I'd say the prices aren't going to really change that much because I don't mind taking it back with me because these, the one-on-ones and stuff. I mean, you don't really want no one's discounting that stuff on Sunday, so it doesn't really matter. I would come early because once they're gone, I mean, I've got a couple of the Gordie Howe and Gretzky tickets, but two. I mean, that's it. And then they'll probably they'll be gone for good. Uh, Cash is king. Um, Cash and trade is okay if it's Rob the other last year brought cash and trade, and it was trades that I could then get a little bit more than what I valued on the trade side and end up selling all three of the stuff that he put in cash and trade.
Yep.
It worked out perfect. So I mean, I would do the same thing with anybody if it's something that I think I can move at the show. So and that's an option, but just don't come with all trade.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, all trade doesn't really help me. It just if I'm trading one thing for four items, then I got to move four to make my one back, and it just doesn't really work.
I understand. So I'm getting excited, Jim. I I'm
Oh,
really
nice.
excited, really excited. So, everyone who's been a guest on the show that I see in Cleveland next week, I hope to give you one because, as successful as the show has been, and it's been very successful, I've gotten such great feedback. I've enjoyed doing it. It's kind of like therapy for me. I work really hard, and to come and talk to a guest like you, Jim, and the other folks that have been on, once a week, I dig it. So I'm going to be bringing some of these. I'm going to be giving them out to everyone who's been a guest because I'm honored to have you guys on. Jim, I also made sure that Sean Doherty put on Booger Stubs today a post. So anyone who's listening that's going to the ticket trade night on Saturday night, you have to register on that Facebook Boogers page if you would. In the comments, just put your name because they're going to be giving out bracelets for that on
Okay.
Saturday night. And we want to make sure that everyone that's in our crew gets a bracelet and we just get right in because there's a lot of people for the trade night for cards. And we can do that, Sean. I don't want our folks to have to wait in like the general population line. I want all of our guys to be able to get in. So, Jim, I'm not sure if you're going on Saturday. I already put your name on the list. I put every dealer's name on the list that I'm going to give to the folks at the National because we definitely want you there on Saturday night. And Sean made a good statement. I'm going to try to give all these out, and if we can wear them, maybe even Saturday. I don't want to look like a goofball, Sean, though, but we're trying to make sure that we have an area set aside just for the ticket collectors in the trade night. So it should be a lot of fun. Everyone who's on and listening, I got to tell you, man, Jim Markey's a good guy. I've done some deals with Jim, like I said. I've never stolen anything from Jim, but Jim has always done me right, given me good prices. Make sure, someone's saying, what's Jim's prized piece of his personal collection? I didn't ask you that, Jim. I need to ask you. You do have a PC. What was the thing that you were going to show tonight that was not coming with you to Cleveland?
I probably have. I'll probably bring. I won't bring one thing, but I have a couple prizes that I probably will bring. Let me show you two things.
So wait, are you part of the rule of if it comes, it's for sale, or these are not for sale?
Everything's for sale.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I mean, I've got no problem. I just won't bring it because this is a little fragile. I found this. I'm a big Cubs fan. I used to be a Cubs season ticket holder for years. Lived in the city. Love the Cubs. So I found this online a couple years ago. 1938. What it is it's a usher instructions for the Cubs on what to do as an usher. And why do I bring it up? Because at the very bottom here is the pass to the 1938 World Series that the usher would have used to get into his post, which happened to be in the bleachers.
Wow.
So this is kind of I want to get that frame, put it up on my wall. I've got the Cubs flag that flew over center field, one of those, and that'll go with us. That's probably coming with me. But I think this is super cool, and I will bring it. I will sell it, but this is the Seabiscuit tickets for when Tom Jones saw Seabiscuit for the first time. As you remember the movie, it's iconic. I've got one of those and one for the Paddock Club, which which I just think it's neat. I mean, Seabiscuit, right? Everyone recognizes the name, and this 1936. Can't slab them, but I'll probably bring them and just put them in the case because I think they're fun.
Just put them in a Jim Markey slab, Put them in a Markey.
I probably will have to, yeah.
Yeah, we coined it tonight, man. I'm done with PSA. I just want Markeys. That's all I want. Jim, great guy. I look forward to seeing you at the National. You have someone's asking your eBay username.
Buying stuff, buying tickets, or
Buying tickets.
buying tickets, buying stubs. One of those.
Okay, buying tickets, buying stubs. But if you want to reach out to Jim, he's on Boogers. You can hit him up on Facebook. He's on IG here. Yeah. Everyone's got his handle now. The
Facebook is easy. I'm JP Markey, and it just everyone comes up to the table. Hey, JP, just call me Jim.
Yeah.
I got a kid named JP, but that just happens to be my Facebook handle for 20 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, everyone, look forward to seeing everybody at the National next week. Excited to see Jim. Hopefully I'll buy something from Jim. I always do. I like that. Make sure if you've been a guest on the show, you grab a Stub Luv hat. Episode 31 of Stub Luv Live. We're out. Jim, thanks so much for being on. I'll see you next week.
Thanks,
All
Howard.
right. Be well. Good luck.